and you're listening to Communities Live on Sheffield Live Radio 93.2 FM with me, Susie Casson and T-Boy, and we're joined in the studio by Stan Skinney. Welcome, Stan.
Good afternoon.
You've been on the radio already, I believe.
This morning, yes.
Yeah,
my second
getting our money's worth out of you.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I was going to describe you as a singer-songwriter, but I was wondering how you would describe yourself.
You know, I like the term Renaissance man.
That's good.
Because it sounds artistic, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'm like a pre-Raphaelite, naked. So I don't know. Yeah, I do anything that'll have a stage. Everything that has a stage, I'll try and perform on it in any way I can. So I'll do the comedy, I'll do acting, I'll do singing. Just versatile. Versatility is, I heard, the key. Though I think, I don't know, a lot of people, they focus on one thing and they get very good at that. So maybe I should just focus on juggling.
Yes.
And master 4 balls at least. That would be maybe a start. And see where we go from there.
Yeah. But, I mean, would you say that kind of creative people, this process is the same, isn't it? Whatever art form you choose, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
It's for me, it's, if I get bored of one type of thing, I'll move on to another thing. There'll always be something to fill that gap because it's just it's an urge within me. It's just like I can't rest easy unless I'm doing something in the quiet times. I've got to do something, and it's also a great sort of stress reliever in times of crisis. But other people, I don't think there's a creative thing about focusing on one thing and perfecting it. And there's a little bit of me would like to maybe mine that a little bit more and explore that.
Yeah, great. So you've done a lot of really interesting performances in the past. What stands out for you in the things you've done so far?
Well, yeah, I've done lots of gigs over the years. I think that for me, performing with my brother is still my favourite thing to do. We used to do an act called Bunty and Bodkins, and it's some of my favourite memories of performing is just doing it with him, because it was always a bit daft and always a bit sort of stressful but funny at the same time. So we did a gig in Sheffield once, and we forgot our trousers. Now this was me mad panicking in the corner before the show, like what the hell we're going to do? We haven't got the trousers. I can't believe we forgot the trousers. And we just did it in our pants, and it was great, and it just fit. Well, yeah, we just rolled it into the character, and they sort of justified it through that, and. We did it in our pants.
You need to keep that in, don't you?
You do, yeah, in more ways than one. Yeah, you do have to keep it in. We've got some tape.
So, what are you up to at the moment?
At the moment, so I do a lot of stuff for the Gardeners Rest. So I do a lot of their sort of events, programming and stuff. So we've got a festival coming up on the 8th, 9th and 10th of September. It's a wonderful 3-day festival of music and beer. We've got bands such as 20-Foot Squid Blues Band. We've got the new offshoot band from Buffalo Skinners, their new sort of project, Two Birds, One Stone. We've got a 20-plus vocal choir performing on the Sunday. And a sort of international star, Jenny Hankin, on the Sunday as well. So there is something for everybody, and it's a free festival. You don't have to pay anything. It's just, and there's going to be I think 25 plus types of beer to try, and especially in the garden of the Gardeners Rest is just a really lovely atmosphere to be in. And if the weather is shining and it's a good day, it'll be a lovely event.
Yeah, sounds great. So that's next weekend, 8th to the 10th of September.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Free entry.
Free entry, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And it says 20 plus real ales.
That's right, yeah.
Wow.
Real ones. Not one of those fake ones
Yes, not
that you
plastic.
get.
Great.
Plastic ales.
Yeah, so the Gardeners Rest is in Neep's End.
It is, yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about it if someone hasn't been yet?
Neep's End or the Gardeners?
Both.
No, well, the Gardeners is a community-owned pub, so it was basically sort of the old landlords were sort of retiring, and the locals that were very passionate about the pub didn't want to sort of hand it over to some sort of blankless corporation that was just going to turn it into some homogenised sort of pub. There was just sort of, they didn't want that to happen because it has its own identity, its own, it's got life and soul of its own. So they share. So they've bought shares in it. So there's 400 people that have bought shares in the Gardeners Rest, and so now it's a community-owned pub, and that's unique to Sheffield because it's the first one to be community-owned. and part of that is to become more than a pub, more of a sort of community space for art projects, for sort of community projects, for music events, and just to sort of bring that community together and sort of celebrate this sort of slightly quirky culture that sort of that resonates there in that space.
Great, and it's a really interesting area, isn't it? It's where the old ski slope is. So
yeah. So for those who enjoy skiing
and
beer, not recommended together because it's hard. But the whole area is transforming in recent years. So there's always a new development coming on now. That area, is burgeoning in terms of Sheffield, and it's quite exciting to be part of that because we're a part of the sort of the past of that area and the sort of the history of the Kelham district. And now you've got all these sort of new block of flats, and there's going to be an influx of sort of thousands of new people, new residents. And hopefully they'll get to discover the Gardeners Rest, and it'll become their favourite point of call for a beer and chat.
Yeah, and as you say, they've managed to keep the character of the place, and it's got a brilliant beer garden as well, hasn't it, looking onto the river? Yeah,
I think, it's award-winning.
Oh.
Award-winning, yeah.
Wow.
And, it really is quite, it's a sunspot for one. And then it is a really lovely space. We had a gig on Friday night, and we had the fires on in the garden, and there was band and music, and we've got all the sort of lights and things. And just you look around it, and there's always a sort of an object that you hadn't quite seen before. So there's like a mannequin with a colander on his head or something like that, and you go, oh, that's just not something you get in other beer gardens. It's all a bit too clinical here. It's just all a bit different, interesting, and
So you're the events manager at the Gardeners Rest. What kind of things are happening regularly?
Regularly, so from now on, we've gone to sort of a programme of sort of every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. We've got music events on. We're keeping with this sort of tradition of the pub, sort of largely sort of Americana, bluegrass, country, folky sort of style, sort of stuff that we've been famous for. Alongside that, we're putting on sort of the Gardeners Introduces night, so that's where we get 2 or 3 local acts that that I've seen that I think are really, really good, and I just want to give them a longer platform. We've also got a cinema night, so we've got the No Frills Film Fest, which is a local group that are based in Pittsmore area of Sheffield, and so the curator of that, Martin Curry, is running a film night there in our snug. So it's a small, tight place to be in, but it's a really extraordinary way to experience cinema in a different way. So he plays these amazing short films. He's got a back catalogue of thousands of really unique films, and so we have that. There's the festival. There's even a Spanish class that we've started that we had last night. So that's the Spanish conversation group for anyone who wants to sort of meet other people that want to practice their Spanish and help each other to learn, and for people from Spain to sort of meet and chat and have that sort of exchange and just sort of celebrate sort of a European identity that some people want to dismiss, because I think it's important to sort of claim that some of us still very much are European.
Yeah, great. So, it's like a blank page, isn't it? You can try things out in a pub like cinema is a really new idea.
Yeah,
just try what you want. Excellent. So, you're also involved with Dina.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Which is the old nightclub near to John Lewis's.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do there?
So it's again sort of a similar role. I do sort of programming stuff there. I overshadow the sort of Creative Tuesdays project, which is just every Tuesday we have a different arts platform evening for people to try out different things like poetry or comedy or songwriting or film even. So it's just to sort of open up those channels for people to start being creative and sort of give it that sort of first initial break into sort of performing live. And then we also put on sort of so just before August we had the comedy Edinburgh Fringe previews. So we do a range of things, and we've got some events like the Shipping Forecast coming back in the autumn, which is a sea-themed cabaret. And there's lots of sort of really interesting. It's just another great space for people with imagination, with creativity, to sort of have the freedom to sort of just experiment, try things out, and that's very much essential to Sheffield and sort of to that art scene here.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, brilliant. So the Gardener's Rest is becoming another venue for
Yeah.
creative people in Sheffield.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
it is, yeah.
Brilliant. Can you just remind us about the Beer and Music Festival when
Yeah, yeah, certainly. So it's on the 8th, 9th and 10th of September. So from Friday it's from sort of 7 o'clock, and then it's sort of Saturday the band start around 3, and on Sunday at 4. You can find more information on our website, www.thegardenersrest.com, or you can visit on our Facebook page, which is Gardeners Comsoc, where you can find the full listings for all the bands and some information and links to their SoundClouds and MySpaces, because it's 2001 still. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thanks, Stan, for telling us.
Thanks very much,
and it's all free, isn't it? You just turn up.
It's all free.
Yeah,
turn up.
no need to book.
Just drink lots of beer. I think.
Yeah, sounds